and welcome to the A-List. I'm Lauren Glass, and my guest on this edition is Peter Rios, the owner of Alliance Bakery in Chicago. So, thank you for coming, Mr. Rios.
Thanks for having me.
So, why bake?
Why bake? Well, I love cooking, I love food, I love art, I love drawing, and I think later in my life, I realized that I wanted to pursue cooking and more specifically pastry as what I wanted to do. My original training and career was electronics. I was an electronic engineer for about 8 years. Graduated with a bachelor's degree in electronic engineering. But throughout that whole time, or actually I should go back to like my childhood. When I was young, I used to, be a big sketcher and drawer and like to create and build. And, out of high school, I was thinking what I wanted to major in. And my original plan was to go into architecture, to build and create, beautiful buildings. And I just love the whole notion of being able to create something that's going to, go on for years and live for years. So architecture was actually my first passion, from early on. But, as a child, though, I used to be a big drawer. I was very artistic. And then, things took a turn, just like life kind of takes you in different directions. And I discovered, electronics. I was playing, in a band and doing music and building amplifiers as well. So I said, okay, I got interested in electronics. And so then somebody told me a little bit about, this is at the beginning of the computer revolution and Microsoft and all that. So I got interested in computers and in the possibility of designing and creating software and hardware. So it led me into electronics, and I kind of, in a way, turned my back from design and drawing, all the things that I did as a child. And so that took me into a career of 8 years as an electronic engineer. And throughout that whole time, I was able to do a lot of traveling in the country because I was a regional service and sales engineer. And I got a chance to travel to San Francisco and New York and New Orleans and all, by the way, great food towns.
Yeah.
So every time I would go there, I'd go and eat very good food and things that, I had never experienced here in Chicago. And I just kind of found myself gravitated towards coming back and cooking. And I had moved out of the house. I was about 25. And so, naturally I wanted to cook and impress as well. And it just came easy to me, just cooking. And it was funny, though, because when I was in high school, I had a job working I worked in Kentucky Fried Chicken. I worked at another restaurant, just summer gigs. Absolutely hated it. I hated cooking. I hated the whole kitchen thing. And then 10 years later, I find myself getting like this cooking bug and loving to cook and loving to create. Then I discovered the art of pastry art, sugar and chocolate work. And I started reading about that, and I seen a program on, I think it was the Food Network or PBS. And I just got really interested in that. And during the latter part of my career in electronics, I began to really get involved in cooking and learning about the science of cooking, all on my own. Then I realized that maybe, this is something I should be doing. So I enrolled in Kendall College, which is a culinary school. And actually, I first tried it out. I wanted to go check it out, and I wanted to go sit in a couple classes. And I thought, this is pretty easy, and this is a lot of fun. And then I had to make a decision. What do I really want to do? Do I want to continue on electronics and computers? And at the time, I was interviewing at Hewlett-Packard and Motorola and different companies, and looking at all these prospective careers, which at the time wasn't very interesting to me. I was thinking, I don't want to sit in a cubicle. I don't want to.
Yeah, that's boring.
Yeah, it was just boring for me. So I decided to go in the culinary path, and went to Kendall College and graduated. And then it took me a couple more years still before I made the complete switch. Okay,
so what was it?
It's a long journey, is what I'm trying to say. I can't just sum it up in a couple paragraphs.
Right. So what was your inspiration, for baking?
Well,
Because I actually read on your profile online that like your mom was your inspiration in a way.
she did shape a lot of my, you know, my thoughts and dreams, but mainly she just pushed me to do whatever I
Yeah.
wanted to do to make me happy. But she was a great cook, and we, you know, childhood memories are always of, you know, great parties and always a lot of food from, you know, my mom and
Yeah.
aunts and so forth. So, you know, I never really cooked a lot as a child. I did cook a little bit, but I just decided this is what I really like to do, and actually everything I used to cook was really good. At least everybody told me that, and it felt good. It was gratifying to please other people, and I'm talking about cooking in general. So you know, I threw myself in like Chinese cuisine, French cuisine, Italian cuisine, and I just began learning how to make all of the, you know, fundamental dishes, famous dishes of all these cuisines. But with it always came a dessert, always came a cake, or always
Yeah.
came the sweet part. Because I would, you know, make a 3-course dinner or something. And then before I knew it, I began getting orders for cakes, you know, just out of my house, you know, from friends and family and so forth. And I started making stuff out of my house. And after about a year or two, I had accumulated almost a little mini professional kitchen at home. And this is actually while I was an engineer, because it was a pretty good job. I was on the field, so I controlled my own
Right.
hours. So I didn't clock in or anything. I just handled my customer base, and I came home and cooked. And so this is right around the time I was making that decision. What do I really want to do? And at the same time, I was like, you know, I was like doing catering almost, like, you know, for free, you know, just
Yeah.
making stuff, making cakes, tarts, and so forth. And I was throughout that whole time expanding my knowledge in cuisine. This is before I went to Kendall. And then upon going to Kendall, that's when I had made the decision. Okay, I'm gonna go to pastry school, because it allowed me to be creative, artistic, and I didn't want to be a culinary chef, because I kind of wanted to go out in the evenings. And if you're a cooking chef, you get out of restaurants at midnight, at 1 o'clock. And in pastry, you're pretty much starting in the morning, you leave early. So that also helped
Yeah.
with my decision. So getting back to your original question, why bake, why cook? It's because I love to do it, and I'm pretty good at it.
So can you tell me about your TV shows?
This was it was a, a show of Chicago bakeries, and we got the call from LA to create a fabulous cake, and they would follow us for 3 days, and you know, it would be from beginning, sitting down with a client, creating a cake, making the cake, and then delivering the cake to the event. And that aired Monday. It was a pretty good show.
Did you have any help growing up, like, or well, I should say, did you have any help, you know, with baking and all that, like?
Actually, I did it all myself.
Yeah.
You know, I did my own research, and my inspiration came from trying food and expanding my own palate. You know,
So what's your favorite recipe?
my favorite recipe. Well, I
Or
don't. I
dessert,
don't
or-
have a favorite food or dessert or recipe, because I pretty much love all type of. If we're talking desserts, all type of desserts. My specialty is chocolate. Anything having to do with chocolate, creating a recipe, a dessert, a cake, or even what we do a lot is our chocolate sculptures.
Right. So what was your favorite event?
My favorite event. We do, you know, as Alliance Bakery, we probably do about 6 to 8 different events throughout the year.
Yeah.
So that's another one where I can't pick one. You know, we do a lot of good, good cause events, you know, for cystic fibrosis or for other type of, cancer. And those are benefits where people come in and pay, and the money goes to the charities. And they invite like sometimes 20, 30 restaurants plus pastry shops. So those events are a lot of fun, because you get to meet everybody in the city. Sometimes celebrities will show up, and all the, you know, important people who have money, you know, to donate.
So how old were you when you started baking?
I was about 28.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I started actually quite late, you know, in life. I didn't do this like early on, and it was because it took me a while to realize what I wanted to do.
Right. So this might seem like a silly question, but what are the key elements to a successful dessert?
Okay. Key elements to a successful dessert would be having the proper research behind the idea. Or first of all, it's the idea, and that would come either by inspiration or by someone, giving you their preferences, and then having a little bit of research to know, what goes with what, and then the execution of it.
So you were telling me like you worked with celebrities, or like you did cakes for celebrities. What kind of celebrities were they?
Oh, I've cooked for a lot of different dignitaries, celebrities. Early on after culinary school, I was at the Fairmont Hotel Chicago, and I did banquet production. First year, second year, I was doing the fine dining restaurant. And the hotel amenities. And an amenity is when a VIP customer stays in a hotel or rents the $5,000 suite. And so they're kind of given stuff throughout the course of the day. In other words, in the morning, the coffee is ready for them. On the dessert side, we would create little sculptures of chocolate with petit fours or candies. And one of our biggest clients at that time was Princess Diana. So it was her and her maids. So she had the presidential suite, and every day was making a different sugar or chocolate sculpture with truffles and candies and stuff like that. And on the third day, she ordered a few more of what she had tried. So that was a lot of fun.
All right, well, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. Well, I'm Lauren Less, and thanks for watching A-List.